Hello. Hey guys, it is CyberBuzz Radio. My name is Crimson Clad. I'm here. A few of you are here. Thank God for that. And, today was supposed to be a special day. I was supposed to have a guest. He literally has just texted me at this second that he's showing up. Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me. I'm having a moment right now. Okay. Let's... Oh, goodness gracious me. So, hi. Listen, I was supposed to get set up, prepped. I was going to tell everybody, a guest wanted to come on today. We wanted to talk a whole lot. He didn't answer me all last night, all this morning. And now, 1 minute after the show has started, he's like, yeah, let's do it. Okay. Well, no one's here because I didn't tell anybody you were going to be here. But you know what? It's fine. It's fine. This is fine. Hey, Divine the Dollar. Yeah. It's not even no guest for me. It's like, hey, do you want to come on a show and talk about your cool stuff? Please let me help you tell more people so more people are interested in your cool stuff. Goodness gracious me. And now, of course, I don't have time to answer him. And I don't have a prep set up for him, and we haven't tested his audio and nothing else. But you know what? That's okay. Consummate professional here, and by consummate professional, I mean absolute terrible DJ. And that's fine. That's fine. We're fine. We're all fine here now. So listen, on Saturdays, I host this little thing called CyberBuzz Radio, and it is a pretty fun show. Yeah, fuck it, we'll do it live. And that's literally what I put in the description of this video. And I'm a little torqued out for sure, but what can you do? So now, hi Sepson. So now he wants to do this and he's asking, okay. Well, absolutely zero people will see this interview, and that's okay, because how do you promote an interview you don't know is happening? Who cares? Whoever's here, we'll listen to some great Synthwave today. I was going to make it open season on what we wanted to talk about. I picked out some music in a fucking panic because, of course, thought we'd be talking for most of the show. And so in the coming weeks, I had some really great plans. You're not zero people. I know. And please never take me being like, no one's here, as those of you who are here saying that you're not good enough. It's just pretty funny because the whole idea of coming on someone's show, asking to come on someone's show, is I want to get out there. And especially when it's Hive related, there are so many people who come to this show who want to learn about what's going on around Hive. And of course, if I don't know you're coming, I can't promote that for you. So I literally did zero promotion for today's show because I was unsure whether or not we'd be doing this talk. So here's the deal. I have a bunch of interviews lined up. In fact, I've got a bunch of things coming up in the next little bit, especially Hive topics. And so that was the whole thing. So goodness gracious me. So let me do a quick sort of kerfuffle reshuffle here. And rather than just start the day going, what? 0.364 people. Yeah, at best. Oh, gosh. So here's the deal. Here's what we will do. I'm going to take a quick second. I'm going to play a little bit of music, just a tiny bit, a short track. I'm going to message him and just see, listen, what do you want to do since we have absolutely no prep done? And then, oh, here he is. Great. Okay, good. So disregard fiat, Steve. Here's the deal, my dear. You didn't answer me all last night. You didn't answer me all this morning. So I didn't tell anybody this show was happening because I didn't want to promote if you weren't going to come. And we didn't test your audio and we didn't test your video. And I didn't hear from you until 1 minute till the show starts. And so now absolutely nobody knows that you were supposed to be here today. And I was just going to message you and see what do you want to do. So here's the deal. I'm going to put on a quick track. We're going to hi Adamars. We're going to hop into DMs and we're going to figure out what the fuck we want to deal with this, if anything, and what we'll do today. Because of course now the stream's even started. The title of the stream is just Mystery Mix-Up Day because of course. It's funny. It's all right. It's fine. Everybody should, I don't have ref links, but if you use ref links, you should use mine. I gotta get paid for this shit. Okay, so I even painted on my eyebrows for this today. Goodness gracious me. Okay, so here we go. Let's let's get some music, shall we? Let's get some music. And you know, here's the thing. I actually had a bunch of tie-in music to go with today's interview. God damn. I love you guys. At least you get to witness the stellar breakdown that is live radio and live streaming and live entertainment. I mean, if nothing else, it's got to be mildly entertaining, right? It's got to be a little funny. So let's do this. Let me put on a track by Daniel Deluxe. That's a quickie, and we'll just hop in DMs and we'll decide what we want to do. It's a track called Overdrive. My name is Crimson Clad, and this is CyberBuzz Radio, and I suspect today might just end up being a fun day, but let's see what happens. And I've got you guys for 2 hours. Disruptive technology, blockchain, the retro future, and synthwave music, or just synthwave and shit talk. Who knows? Who knows? I wasn't supposed to let that keep going. I said I was going to play a really short track for you guys, and I did. Okay, so listen, more people are hopping in because of the pity party. But I think Disregard Fiat wants to do just chat. Yeah, I think he wants to just chat. I mean, yeah. Hi, Puku. Hi, everybody who's hopping in. So listen, today's the most mixed up day of all time. So Disregard Fiat was supposed to come on and talk about Deluxe and talk about Speak and talk about all the cool stuff that he's working on. And I think we're still going to do that. It's just not because I wasn't sure if he actually was coming. We didn't tell anybody about the show. We've done zero advertising. I haven't prepped an overlay. We haven't tested his video and audio. And even if he does do video, I don't have an overlay prepared to show you that video. So you know what? That's okay. I think he still wants to roll with it. I think we still are going to talk about it today. And we will just say that the punishment for sleeping in is You said you don't get a custom overlay, and that the intro to your video will be a little bit sassy. It's going to be a little bit sassy because I was complaining about you. So hang on. Let's drag him in here. Let me undeafen and unmute myself and drag him in here. And we'll just see if we can hear him now. Hi, even Azaria's come. Oh, gosh. All right. I can hear you. Let's just see if you show up on the... Say hi.
Hi.
All right, I'm going to turn you up just a tiny bit. All right, so listen, we're publicly shaming you now.
That's fine. Deluxe is very used to having no marketing or advertising done.
I'm not going to say it's your fault, but I'm going to shake you gently. I shake you. Okay, so that's fine. No big deal. I will work on maybe a partial overlay in the background, and we'll try and at least have something that shows that this is a deluxe show, but perhaps we will also attempt this again in the future. And that track that I just played was by Daniel Deluxe, because I was so clever and I prepped today with a bunch of music to go along with, Steve.
How clever. I like Synthwave. It's fun to listen to, especially if you're not normally around.
All right. So listen, I figure that the people who are here today, we're going to have probably just the core Hive crowd and maybe some more people that show up. But you wanted to talk about all the cool stuff that you're working on. And one of the big things that we kind of always talk about with Hive is how expansive the second layer is. And we've got, hi, Chop Lamb. Hi, there's more and more people coming in today. One of the things that we talk about a lot is the capability of Hive to support a massive second layer and, a pile of different second layer options. And, the two sort of best defined that are out there are Hive Engine and Deluxe. And they both have different types of audiences, right? I mean, Hive Engine is very sort of turnkey, plug and play, pay some money, bingo, bango, bongo. And that works for some groups and it's great for certain types of applications. But you have been working passionately on Deluxe, and it is kind of had some scope creep on it. Initially it was the VR side of things, the VR aspect, and it has become so much more. And you've had individual projects that are starting to launch on it that need more flexibility that they can get anywhere else. You've got people experimenting with what the Deluxe second layer can offer them. You have the VR side that's taken a run and really building some cool stuff, including some people in here that have been working with it. And now you have got the full Speak Network deployment as well as a DEX, right?
Kind of.
Kind of.
It's running on software that I've built, but like Deluxe is just running on a second layer. But yeah, so like Speak isn't necessarily part of Deluxe.
Right. And so as I'm saying, the whole Speak network, sorry, I guess you're saying using sort of the stuff that you've learned from Deluxe, you've now helped launch, or are helping to power an entire another layer on top of Hive with the lessons that you've learned and sort of companion to what you've been working on with Deluxe.
That sounds right.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I'm making it up as I go. That's how today's going to be. Stick Champion is here. My goodness. This is so exciting. Lots and lots of people that I didn't think would be coming out of the woodwork. You see, you could have had the most baller crowd today. So what did you want to talk about? Because I know you mentioned the DEX. You mentioned Honeycomb. You've got a lot of irons in the fire.
Yeah, they're all there. I was just chill talking about anything because I know like you like to do NFT stuff. I like to do NFT stuff. You like to do video and marketing and stuff like this, and helping out with the Speak Network and seeing how all that stuff could work is cool. And of course, if you wanted to talk about VR, I'm there too. Yeah,
all right.
I'm just here.
Okay, so we don't have a plan. It is indeed the mystery mix-up day, and I like that. That's okay. So I know the question's going to be asked. And we maybe should save it later for the show. So in the back of your mind, just kind of percolate. Today, depending on where you are in the world, unless you're upside down, like a couple of the people I see in chat are, today is the 19th. And yeah, I knew PZ, there's the question. Today is the 19th. Tomorrow is the 20th. There are some things happening with Speak Network tomorrow, or listen, there's lots of things happening, and I know tomorrow is an important date. So I'm guessing a lot of people are going to have questions about that. They're going to want to know sort of what's happening with the Speak network. I know obviously what's happening in Ukraine has sort of slowed things down for Matt. So we'll kind of touch on those things a little later in the show. The Dex is probably one of the things that has been trucking along for a while, and I see Dudeness is asking about it in chat. How is the Dex coming along? Because I know there are quite a few people who are using it all the time now. Where's it at, and what does it need, and what do you want to see to get more people using this truly decentralized exchange that you've built?
Well, Dexes are definitely part of my foray into the new world, I guess.
Yes.
It's definitely getting places. There's limitations, of course, but this one, from a user side, feels a lot nicer. And as long as you're not a whale, you're probably not running into any problems with liquidity issues.
So
but
that's
they're all there.
Yeah. So I was just going to ask with the Dex, pardon me. So you are running obviously Deluxe tokens. And so what's available to trade on there now? What are your sort of goals for it? Because it turns out now, and actually next week Call is coming on. Well, I shouldn't say 100% because I have to double check with him too, in case this happens 2 weeks in a row. But next week we're going to talk to Leo Finance, Cub DeFi, Poly Cub, Leo Guru Call. DeFi on Hive is something that obviously everybody's looking for in crypto right now. Forget ICO summer. We're heading into, we went through DeFi fall and it just never ended. So everybody wants decentralized finance. Everybody wants farming. Everybody wants pools. Everybody wants everything that, ETH kind of launched into the stratosphere. And Hive is actually in a great position to power something like this. And basically you and the Leo team are the two that are taking it on. So what's your sort of goals for this, and what can people who are in the chat right now, what can they trade there? What can they do there? Like, why do they need to come to the Deluxe Dex?
Well, the Deluxe Dex just does Deluxe things. The honeycomb aspect of it is so anybody who has a project, who wants a project, can do it as cheap as possible. And that's like not paying. Hopefully running a honeycomb Dex will be cheaper for the operator than paying for one transaction on Ethereum. And that really comes down to like the power of Hive and having everything down to like transaction resource credits and whatnot. So that's really just the goal, is to make it as cheap as possible to do trustworthy things with people you love, or people you don't love that are in the same community.
That's pretty important. I mean, the reality is it's almost like saying people you love, because most of the people that are here on Hive are either mildly insane, or have Stockholm syndrome, or, have a love of this place that keeps them here because otherwise they would not be here. And that sounds really bad, but it's the truth, because Hive is one of these unknowns. It doesn't have the same hype game that other blockchains in the crypto space do. And that's really what drives everything now. I mean, it's terrible, but crypto is 99.9999999 repeating hype. It's the truth, right? And so when Hive has all of the power, all of the capability, but none of the hype, as some of these other networks, especially second layers that are branching out on ETH, the people who are here because they love it. And we are our own evangelists. So, shows like this, it's kind of important to be able to bring more people into the fold, help more people understand that there's something in here out there for them, for everyone. So Deluxe projects are the only things on the Dex, and the idea that the Dex will be able to support more Deluxe projects that will be incredibly inexpensive for someone holding a bit of Hive power is pretty freaking, it's pretty attractive, right? We know for a fact out there right now, especially when we talk about NFT projects, everybody wants to make a 10,000 item NFT project. Everybody wants to do a series of profile pictures. Everybody wants to make 6,700 knockoff ape clone bullshit. How many apes are there now? And we currently don't have a project that's focusing on that. So Deluxe is basically taking this and running with it. And you've got 2 projects right now already that are larger size collections and that are generative, right?
There's 2 generative, 3 products overall.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is where you talk about what they are.
One is the bees. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. The bees token is supposed to be just for like a hive centric thing because we're not apes, but we kind of are the honeybees or whatever we want to call ourselves. And these were designed by Visa down in, I believe, Mexico, and she put all of her talent into there, and all of these things look adorable, and they're super cheap. In fact, the only way to get them is to be given them by doing random stuff around the ecosystem, and yeah, they go for like 20 hive now if you can get your hands on one.
They're they're really cute. So I'll grab some and I'll drop them in the chat, or maybe are helpful. Usually PZ or other people are right on top of this and will dump stuff in the chat. But so there's the Deluxe Hypercube is the other one. And so that I find this really interesting. So bees, you can't get them now unless you do something in the ecosystem. Have you thought, or do you have some plans on that to kind of get some more out there? Like this is, let's talk about this lack of marketing and hype and whatever. Here's an opportunity. Like they're super fun. They have way better artwork than a lot of the, projects that I'm seeing out there through the multiple ERC ecosystems. So like how many, I'm trying to think of what the right way to do this is. So how many do you have that still need to be distributed? And have you thought a little bit about what you're going to do with that? Because this is let's run with this shit. Let's plan something. Let's do it.
We have stated what we're going to do with the rest of those things, but we kind of just do it under our breath at different times. So there's
that's bullshit. No, left. Over your breath now today.
Over our breath. There's 8,900 left.
Okay.
If you haven't gotten one yet, and you are one of the first 8,900 people to claim that haven't gotten one yet, when you do your Speak Network claims, you'll be given a bee.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so Speak Network is another thing that I know, obviously, Deluxe is your baby. And you've been working hard on powering, the Speak Network and doing the coding for Speak Network, but it's not actually Deluxe. A lot of people don't necessarily know what's happening with Speak Network, or it's a little shrouded in mystery. And so I know you're involved with the project. It's not your project, and I don't want to keep today focused solely on it. But I do know that tomorrow is an important date for it, and there are probably some people who are going, "Excuse me, claims? How can I claim? What? Where? How? What can I claim?" So maybe you can help with that a tiny bit.
So yeah, the Speak Network is kind of my baby because, like you said, the Deluxe has that scope creep of like
everything.
Can it do everything? And the Speak Network is going to hopefully help me do everything. They have indexing nodes so you can decentralize your search and whatnot. They have CDN nodes so you can get content out of places that normally would be difficult. They have IPFS nodes so you can decentralize the storage of content. And, they'll have encoder nodes, which may or may not have an immediate use for VR, but that also means I can run turn servers and streaming nodes. So the network itself should be able to provide decentralized infrastructure, and that's what I'm really excited about.
So that is sick. Like, honestly, that's something we're missing. And I can even speak to this as someone who does live streaming. And a lot of the people who watch here, whether it's live streaming, the video content, whether it's the radio and music aspect, whether it's the interviews and chit chats and, showing the video later aspect, this is something that I love about Hive and I hate about Hive. So obviously for me, I would say every second or third video just gets hidden. And I don't have an option for video storage, or, if I am going to pursue IPFS or something like that, I've either got to move to a totally different chain or I've got to do that all on my own. Now, that's the crypto way, obviously, learn, get good, take control, personal responsibility. But it's what people are looking for now. And we have some fabulous solutions, and we're streaming out on one of them today, for example, which is Vim TV. That is a live streaming solution powered by Hive, and that's awesome. But of course, video storage or yeah, Party Ogre is like, give me the airdrop. All right, we'll talk more about the claim in a second. But for me, that's the missing link. And so 3Speak is this sort of YouTube up and coming video platform that is meant to help people properly host and distribute their video content, powered, monetized, communitized by Hive. Fantastic. But that was just the front end. And now you are building out the network and the infrastructure underneath it. And that is a very exciting and interesting thing. So for a lot of people, you were mentioning all the different types of nodes that can be run and that are powering this incredible sort of decentralized underbelly of Speak. And I'm in your Discord. I know a lot of the listeners right now that I'm seeing hop in, more and more people, hello, are also in the Discord. So they kind of know what's going on. And there's some node runners in here already. But do you kind of want to... Can you kind of say, okay, listen, if you're not going to run a node or you're not sure how to get involved or, you know, you're just somebody who's interested in this and hearing about it for the first time, do you kind of want to talk about how they can get involved with this?
Yeah, the easiest way to get involved with this is claims. And it's kind of interesting how the network is coming out because we don't want to have a security behind it. We don't want just the developers to have what they have. So we're just giving it to the Hive community as at whole. So if on January 6th you had Hive or Hive Power, you'll have claim tokens. And
awesome.
Those claim tokens, you can claim them with just a custom JSON. So there'll be a link somewhere. And if you use Hive Signer, just click on that link, or you can go to one of our front ends and it should be in one or two places. And then you can click there and sign a custom JSON. So just like playing Splinterlands. And then you'll have these tokens. And right now, we're not using them for anything other than running nodes. But the idea is you can trade them if you don't want to run nodes because really it's for people who provide infrastructure more than anything else. And, get involved in building up a community from basically Hive. It didn't come from anywhere else. The outside funding didn't happen. It's Hive DAO, Hive community. That's where it's at.
Excellent. So in this case, where do people, because I mean, there's probably a ton of posts. If you have them handy, great. If not, this is what everybody's ears immediately go, pew, claims, tokens, trading, drops. This is what people want to know. And there are going to be, for every person that kind of goes, oh, give me the tokens, there are going to be more people who are like, hell yes, this is what I've been waiting for. I didn't know I can, get these tokens or kind of join in on node running. What do I need to do? So we already know, you just said it was January 6th was the magical date. Boy, oh boy, there's a date for you. Those bastards, they ruined everything. Who knew? But so January 6th is already come and gone. This is already in motion. It's already in the works. So now that you guys have your snapshot and your distribution, model and everything is ready to go, when and how do people do these claims?
There's going to be a link. You can already go and check it out right now. spk.deluxe.io is one of the front ends, and that's where our DEX is. And other places, but it's just a link. And it'll just show you how many tokens you have, and we'll monitor that and make sure everything's going well. And we have been doing it for a month.
All right.
So tomorrow is the day that the DEX happens. So tomorrow's the day you'll be able to trade your coins without soft limits.
Got it.
Collateral limits.
Okay, got it. So 1 second. spk.deluxe.io, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to fire that across all the chats just so people could check it out. So that's excellent. So basically everyone here at the moment, and pretty much everybody across all of the platforms, because I see people actually there's Vim and there's YouTube and Twitch, and somebody's even listening on the radio. Okay, cool. So the reality is the magic has already happened. And for those of you who want to get your coins and then immediately do something with them, tomorrow is kind of the day. So with your DEX launching tomorrow, what comes next? Doesn't have to be for Speak, but it could be, or it could be for everything.
Oh yeah. My immediate goals in the future are to help build out a little bit more of the Speak network, and I'm also working with Dan on his Ragnarok NFT set.
Right.
So
We probably have
yeah,
to talk
there's
a little bit about that because everyone is dying to know what's happening with it, but nobody is quite sure.
yeah the posts that come out talking about gameplay and whatnot are really cool posts. So in the background, there's a lot of stuff being worked on. The gameplay is being hammered out. People are making little changes. I'm not really involved in most of the gameplay aspect. I'm just involved in building the infrastructure for the NFTs. And it's going to run on its own honeycomb system, so it's going to be like Ragnarok instead of Speak or Deluxe. But the idea is the same. You'll have super cheap tokens that are community owned, and you can trade them on a DEX. So we'll be building a slightly different DEX so you can do that with straight NFTs. But yeah,
Awesome.
that's the idea.
All right. So that's pretty cool. And so I'm guessing I'll keep an eye on the audience and see what people want to talk about and sort of what stuff that you're building that they're most interested in. But one thing we talk about, obviously, a lot on this show is VR and AR. We do. We talk about that a lot. It's a thing we love. It's just how it goes. So in that case, what's happening on the VR side of things with Deluxe now? Because I know, for example, I don't know if Marco's here. I haven't seen him yet. He is basically the baller boss of Deluxe VR environments. But I'm sure there's probably more going on that I don't know about. So that's definitely an aspect that we hear particularly on this show are really, really interested in. What do you think we need to do to get more people kind of checking out what's going on with the Deluxe VR side of things, which is a loaded question to begin with, but also like what kind of plans do you have for it? I'm just pumping you today. I'm sorry. It's intense.
I know you like all the stuff I'm doing, and I'm over here like I've been doing it for a long time.
I know, and you don't tell anyone about it, and then you don't tell me I'm going to come on your show. So rather than have thoughtful questions that help you expound and advertise everything you're doing, I'm just like, give me your info. So
yeah, the info's there. So Deluxe is really just supposed to be a platform for that decentralization, and unfortunately, there hasn't been enough people that know what they're doing with the platform. So we've put a few what do you call them, like cookie cutters or boilerplates out, so that if you want to build like a photosphere, you can drop your 360 photos on it. And that's most of our content right now, is just posting 360 photos. But a few people like his username is spelled probably well, I think it's Marcos.
That is Marco, yeah.
Yeah, he's built out his art gallery in there, and you've got sound and lights and all of these ridiculously cool effects. And yeah, he's really showcasing like what you can do with it as is. And like he'll tell you right up, he's not a developer. He's just in there to play with it because it's really cool. So yeah, the thing is, you really can do anything in there. It is virtual reality, and the only limits are what your users like technology is. So he runs into that too, like, oh, there's so many polygons and these processors are crying. But yeah, that's the same thing you're going to get no matter where you are.
Yeah, that's true. So, this is something and a tangent that has nothing to do with anything, but this is something that I have always looking good, dudeness, looking good. This is something that I've always wanted, and I've been bugging you with for forever, and we've just kind of never connected to get it done. But one of the things that I desperately want to do, and that I think Deluxe is so suited for, would be to build sort of a standardized gallery template and have a one-click connection to NFT Showroom. Now, NFT Showroom, hashtag nepotism, is obviously, hey, Richard! Hashtag nepotism, hashtag NFT, hashtag blessed, hashtag follow for follow, is obviously, that's our project. We love it. It's our baby. It is a rare digital art marketplace built on Hive. And so it's using the other option for second layer right now, which is Hive Engine. And that's not a problem in a lot of cases because it is meant to be sort of small runs of tokens. And in most cases, we love seeing one-of-ones, uniques. The fine art or the art aspect of the NFT community is a little different in most cases than, say, sort of profile pictures, game assets, and these bigger collections or sort of needs for immense amount of NFTs for gameplay. So I feel like these are kind of things that go hand in hand. And I feel like Deluxe has this whole VR aspect that we know now. Fucking Zuckerberg has kind of infinitely devalued the idea of the metaverse just by stealing the word meta. It's his now, the fucker. But right? If you say meta now, like I'm pretty sure every time we say metaverse, we owe him $1, and that's bullshit. Because of course the crypto peeps have been here forever, and the metaverse is so synonymous with the NFT art space now as well, right? I mean, where else would you like to go to, viscerally experience art and video and sound and music? Virtual reality is perfect for that. And when we're trying to help people wrap their head around the idea of a token that doesn't actually exist per se, it exists, but it's ephemeral. It lives in the ledger on the blockchain, and I can't touch this piece of art and I can't feel it. That ability to experience it, hella valuable. And so for me, something that I've always wanted to do, and obviously I'm just madly in love with what Deluxe has the potential to do, is I always wanted to see sort of an innate connectivity between NFT Showroom and Deluxe VR. And so one of the things you mentioned in there specifically was not everyone is good with this kind of technology, and especially sort of the self-starter, self-learning that comes along with manipulating and creating a VR space using your tools. So you mentioned that you have created templates already, and yeah, Yikes is here. He's one of our fabulous artists on NFT Showroom, prolifically prolific. You mentioned templates that you've already created so people can kind of drop assets in and hit the ground running. So for me, I'm sure you're annoyed by how many times I've asked about it and we've just never really connected on it. My dream is that we would have a button on, say, every piece of art on NFT Showroom that would say view in VR gallery. And we would do that and it would launch something powered by Deluxe, and you could go and like step into a room and look at the token on a wall with some cool spotlights. Is this a pipe dream? How do I make this happen? Not necessarily how do I force you to do it, but like I'm a project owner. I have the perfect fit for your project. How do we make this a thing? What do I need to do?
Well, it does take one of those self-starters, but the idea behind Deluxe is it's not just for VR, it's for all applications that can be on the internet.
Right.
So if there was somebody out there who knew the inner workings of whatever system they're working on, so like say NFT Showroom, and had an idea of what they want to accomplish, they can go in and make an application. So just like a normal web page, like PeakD, for instance, it talks to the Hive blockchain.
Right.
And it's not the Hive blockchain, but it's there and it runs all that software on your computer so that you can get this Hive experience. So it would be able to say like, okay, what nodes are out there? Where can I pull this API from? And go talk to Hive Engine, get your NFT Showroom stuff, and come back and put it into like an expansible environment. Like, oh, you have 20 pieces, so now there's 20 pedestals in your gallery to showcase your art. And at that point, if somebody puts that out and they say this is like copyleft or free use, anybody else would be able to go in and say like, oh, cool, here's some open source software. I don't like pedestals. I'd rather have photos on my wall. Or I'd rather put this in a garage so I can show off cars. And so it does take at least one person to start it off. But once the software exists, it should be easier and easier to make that custom for you.
So basically, it's got to be us.
Basically, yeah.
Well, and so that's what I'm interested about, because here's NFT Showroom with this sort of really nicely like puzzle piece fit that just you have a VR side of Deluxe that can power this. What do I need as this project owner to jump in? But as you said, the whole point of Deluxe is to create these tools and this decentralized infrastructure to power anything. And so that's probably what you need right now. If I had to guess, right? Like that's truly what you need. It's just people who want to find this, experiment with it, and kind of harness the power of it. Project managers, website creators, like what? Who's the target right now that you want to see and turn loose on, the capabilities of Deluxe?
Anybody with an internet connection, but I think like
it's a little broad.
Major people, yeah. I would settle for people who have like a desire. So anybody who goes to like hacking groups or sits around on Hive discussing what the problems are, then those are my target audience. So like students and people with a lot of time who just want to learn. And if that's you and you want to learn, that's probably the best person for Deluxe. On the other side, I guess it would be people who have a business idea and they just are past learning and want to execute.
Okay. So now I guess the next question is do you have a plan to kind of create any sort of turnkey style integration for people? Because obviously you are going to be working hard and you are really enjoying the process of expanding Speak Network, right?
Right.
So then what comes next after that? What's the next step? You've got this plan and that's where your focus is. So how do we kind of help corral some more of these people to experiment with, Deluxe as a whole in the background? It's kind of a marketing question.
Kind of a marketing question.
I know I'm a dick. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know we do have plans to help with NFT creation because right now it's a little bit opaque on how to build NFTs, and you can absolutely come over to Deluxe and build NFTs right now. But what does that mean? And I really haven't put out enough explaining stuff around that, but there's so many cool things that you can do with our generative NFT type things. So for instance, there's the ability to have the owner of an NFT modify the NFT in a special way. So let's say you want to put out Hive Fest badges, and those Hive Fest badges were going to be NFTs. So if you want to think of them like the exact same thing as a badge, but you want to put your name and your photo on it, you would be able to say like, okay, I bought the badge. You go into our system and make a custom JSON, and it'll say, hey, this custom JSON is coming from the owner of this badge, so we're going to let you put in your own photo, and it'll just drop your avatar or your photo right on that badge.
Very cool.
And it doesn't have to be a badge. It's just a custom spot that you can put whatever you want into it. So if you want to put a photo on a license or a house in a VR space, that's the idea.
So that's really kind of cool. And, for people who might not quite 1,000% totally maybe got lost on the JSON aspect of things, it's basically like you have bought whatever this NFT is, whether it's an item, a picture, an asset for a game. And if you have verified ownership on the ledger, then there could be some aspects of this item that you can interact with and personalize, which is freaking cool. And that's when we kind of talk about NFTs, there's so much kind of space out in the weeds where people are like, I think I get it, but maybe I don't get it. And I don't understand. And it exists, but it doesn't exist, but it's mine, but it's not mine because everybody can right click, save it. I think the idea that, hey, verified ownership is available on the blockchain. People are starting to get used to that. But the next step being, if I'm the owner, I get to do special things with this and nobody else can. That's one of those things that will really help these puzzle pieces kind of fit together for someone who's still struggling a little bit with the idea of what is an NFT? Why do I give a shit about an NFT?
Yeah.
Because that's really it right now.
That's where it's at. And yeah, it goes much further than, say, like buying land and building a piece on it. What if you have this show and you want to not deal with any of the business aspects if somebody wants to come by and steal a 30-second clip from it? You'd be able to have it being managed by an NFT and say, all right, if anybody wants to pay me 10 Hive dollars or whatever, they'll be able to steal any 30 seconds from the show. And you don't have to do anything past set up that NFT in the first place. And now you get rewards for people stealing your content, which is, I guess, the dream.
Well, I mean, it is. And, it's funny because we kind of go back to the very beginnings of the legacy blockchain. Like, we go back way back to something like Steam. A lot of people ended up on Steam because they found that somebody on Steam had stolen their content. And then they were like, God damn it, they got paid for it and I didn't, so I'm joining. I mean, that's a pretty standard thing. That's not even a blockchain specific thing. How many fake Instagram accounts, or like, you have an Instagram account, but you don't have that fucking OnlyFans. So somebody just goes to someone else's Instagram, scrapes their titillating pictures and creates a new OnlyFans or whatever, right? Like, this is time immemorial. We are assholes and we take from each other to get ahead. So NFTs kind of have a real important an important position in kind of mitigating our asshole behavior. Maybe not. Maybe it makes us more asshole-ish. I don't know. Can NFTs save us from being an asshole? I'm not sure.
Maybe.
My
worldview is that intellectual property kind of sucks in general.
Yes.
But who's to say I'm right? It seems to have powered the modern world in a lot of ways. But to me, like, all the problems with capitalism come back to intellectual property, not real property. Like, the means of production actually is like the patents and whatnot, not necessarily what you own in the real world.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I have a love-hate affair with the idea of intellectual property because obviously there is this subsect of people, and of course I see many of them in the chat. I'm biased. I love all these people who are brilliant minds, who think a little differently than everyone else, who create and exist solely to create. But of course, the reality is you also kind of want to like not die while taking part in the creation process. It's, it's very pedestrian, but eating is cool. So I get that. I understand the idea that the process of creation fuels the soul, but may or may not put food on the table. So I agree, because of course, in this case, when I do these shows or when I am teaching about blockchain or when I'm doing promotion even for an artist, for example, YouTube or Twitch will be like, well, you played that artist. Fuck you. You're getting a strike. You're pulling your video down and whatnot. And the reality is I'm not making money from this. All of the money, if there is any from, say, a YouTube video, goes to those artists. To me, that's perfect. That's exactly how it should be. But that structure, as you say, those means of distribution, or I guess in some ways production, have this control over what is or isn't intellectual property, and they are sort of the arbiters of who gets paid and when. And that is grossly inequitable in most cases. And very rarely anymore do these, I suppose, well-meaning ideas behind intellectual property actually pay the person who created said intellectual property. It's almost never, frankly. And interestingly enough, it's the places that it's been widely and soundly hijacked is not even necessarily the means of production all the time, but the distribution network. And that's why I guess decentralized stuff is so exciting to us, hey?
Hey, yeah, definitely, absolutely. I don't know what to add to that comment.
It's okay. I'm just,
you said it
as we're talking through it, it sees the memes of production. Clay, comrade, going to fight the meme wars. It's so interesting that we are essentially in sort of this modern conflict, and it's literally being fought by TikTokers and propaganda machines, and which government drops the best memes. It's what How? What is happening?
Meme warfare. I mean,
It's
we all knew it was coming, or at least people who look at memes knew it was coming.
We did, but it's just, I mean, it's one of the funniest things is on this server, since we've blown up the topic and we chase down every little thread that we pull now. We have this terrible clown world, not the show, although that's pretty terrible too. If you want to see it, you can always go to mspwaves.com and check out the schedule, hang out with Ron for Clown World. But no, we have on the MSP Waves home server PAL network, we have this Clown World political channel where people share stuff. And the thing that makes me chortle a lot is the idea of how many journalists have gotten so lazy with the internet that someone on Twitter will tweet a troll picture of, like, I don't know, I think Solo pasted one or Julia pasted one of like Christine, don't want to misgender him, her, Chandler being arrested, and then tweeted it and was like, oh, transgender journalist arrested in Ukraine. It's an outrage. And all these other journalists came in and go, oh no, do you have a source for this? This is terrible. I'm going to report this. It's like, oh my God. Fuck. What? Stop. How? Oh, no wonder we're so stupid. We're so stupid as a whole. Not this little cross section here right now, but overall, my God, we're so dumb.
Yep. But yeah, that's kind of like what Hive is, going back to that thing about the people you love. And this is Thanksgiving dinner where you go home and you have to argue about politics, and some people are going to go for a quote unquote walk. But yeah, at the end of the day, you're all here and you're going to talk about the same things because it's the only place that's going to be left where you can actually have a discussion.
Yeah. And I think that's truly sort of what keeps us all here, is at the end of the day, we all struggle with some of the inherent issues that come along with the monetization on a social blockchain. And arguably that is the number one pain point of Hive. And it probably will continue to be as long as there is still a reward pool on Hive that is distributed via a social consensus. That's our problem. That's our bad. Whoa, we're going to have to deal with that at some point. But at the same time, it's this delightful, horrible morass that just draws more and more people in. And there is something, Clay's calling it a beautiful absurdity to being human. Forget human, even to Hive, there is this sort of beautiful absurdity, because here is this blockchain that is, poised and perched and ready to power pretty much any social dApp or interaction or any number of projects that just need some form of information storage and distribution in a decentralized way. But where the core usage and where our hearts really keep coming back to is just screaming at each other on the internet. And that's both amazing and horrible.
Yeah. It is life in 2020. Either get down with the screaming at people on the internet, or you're living a life of peace and quiet somewhere. Who knows?
Yeah.
I wonder what it's like.
Well, I mean, as silly as it is and as ridiculous as it is, that's always been the key point to Hive for me. And I know for a lot of the people that are here, the money, the rewards pool, the NFTs, the crazy infrastructure possibilities, community aspects, games, everything else, there is still that tiny kernel of truth that shines in this big beautiful turd that's just laying there in the middle of the road. And that is that this is indeed censorship resistant and immutable. And while front ends are obviously evolving and certain behavior is obviously not really enjoyed by anyone, I'm thinking about, floods of gigantic swinging dongs, which, front ends now granularly have a way of working around, in that nodes can decide to filter out. Like, there's lots of options for it. Overall, if you want to connect to the network, if you want to go looking around in the ledger, you can and will be able to find whatever voice someone has committed to this giant pile of information. Period. Mm-hmm. No, like, full stop. And that full is stop. So lacking. It's so lacking today. And I think that is why people are so Stockholm syndromey about Hive, is because we know, it hurts us and we love it. But at the same time, there is this incredibly important reason to be here. And as much as we could quibble over visibility and downvotes and rewards and this, that, and the other thing, almost anyone could literally take up the torch or use Deluxe and build themselves a platform to say whatever it is they need to say. That's fucking powerful. How do we help more people understand that? Do we think that people care much about that outside of who's already here?
I think people do, and I think they're going to keep getting driven to places like Hive. Like, what was it? Donald Trump's like Truth Social, and not even like a month later, they're already censoring content, and that's not what people wanted. Or at least that's not what a lot of people wanted. Some people just wanted to hear Dear Leader. But in general, I still think that there's a big market for people who want a censorship-free environment, or at least something closer to that kind of platform.
So
like you said, swinging dongs aside.
Yeah. Well, that was, and some people in chat were like, hey, I didn't super mind that. Well, and that's fine. That's the reality. Some of us, I will say, the crypto space is full of people who have been on the internet a long time. Hi, Generale, and whoever else has joined us, because I see some numbers have gone up. My name's Crimson Clad. This is CyberBuzz. We're having a crazy mystery mix-up day, and Steve, Disregard Fiat's here. We're talking about Deluxe. We're talking about all of the crazy offshoots that Deluxe has its tendrils in. We talk a little bit about Speak, and now we're jamming about Hive and all the stuff that Hive kind of entails, because that inherently has an impact on Deluxe as well. And so we've kind of come full circle, and we're talking a little bit about censorship and immutability and our inherent need in this world for a place to gather and socialize, even when we have something absolutely stupid to say. And so, yeah, there was a period where every comment had a giant swinging dick on it, just meat spins out the Yahoo, and it was a lot. Just seeing Clay saying that the bot's going to shit. So that's in the Discord. If you were watching on Vim TV, which is, of course, a Hive-powered solution, Theta TV, another blockchain-powered network, Trovo, Twitch, YouTube, wherever, that is probably a bot issue. So you have many opportunities to watch or listen to the stream wherever you like. Please grab one that works for you. Ron will work on the Discord and the radio station sounding a little better. But so where I was going with this, dicks everywhere, is that a lot of people that made it into crypto, and definitely a lot of people who are embracing Hive and kind of hitting that sweet spot between wanting a sort of freer and more expansive community structure that allows them to build communities, and also Yates. Yeah, I know, Yatesy. It's good to be blissfully unaware sometimes. But there's the other aspect of it, which is you're also comfortable with the technology, because crypto, that's a huge aspect of crypto in general, and Hive is no exception. And Deluxe, even as you're saying, some of these tools that you're building and this infrastructure that you're building, there's a technical aspect that some people who have made it onto the internet still haven't been able to grasp. But Hive is more savvy than others, and there is this sort of sweet spot of people who get crypto, get technology, get censorship resistance, and are in that perfect trifecta of talents that you've probably been on the internet a long time. That's where that came from. You've probably been around a while. You were a kid that grew up on LimeWire, infecting your parents' computer with terrible things. You have seen some shit, and swinging dicks on the internet is probably absolutely nothing new to you. I mean, you were probably in an IRC chat room the first time somebody dropped a blind link and you did your risky click of the day and you saw the original meat spin gif. And it's almost a rite of passage on the internet. So, I mean, I'm sure there are people who kind of live in the Hive matrix who are just like blonde, brunette, redhead, swinging dick, just glaze right over it. don't even see it or understand it. But this is sort of where the granularity of interfaces come in. You could customize that experience. If you don't like that someone is filtering out all of your swinging dicks, then you can go somewhere else, or you can even build your own interface. Now, caveat, I will say Hive is not full of swinging dicks. So anybody who's just jumping into the video now is probably going, oh my God, I'll never go there because it sounds very penisy. I promise you, it's not. If you go looking, you probably could find some. But overall, if you're just going to dip your toe in, you probably won't see a penis. You'll be okay, I promise.
Yeah. In general, penises don't get all the love monetarily that they could.
Is that something I would say maybe that's missing? I mean, Speak Network is going to be infrastructure focused. Building social gathering places or speech content distribution networks that are social focused with Deluxe or Speak. That's something that I haven't seen yet. There's a lot of NFT focused projects. There's a lot of visual focused projects. What's sort of the next step for communities or gathering places or information sharing, do you think? Or that you want to build?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
I
the
see you
infrastructure
talking,
things.
but I don't hear you. What's happening?
I don't know.
Hello? Hello?
I guess they can't hear me.
Interesting. My headphones say they can hear you and I can't. Sorry, I'm talking over you. 1 second here. For whatever reason, I can no longer hear you, but I can see that you are moving the bar on my overlay. So quick check with chat or anybody watching or listening everywhere else. Can you hear Steve and it's just me who can't?
Testing
What is
1 2.
happening? Andrew. You probably won't see a penis, and that's the Crimson Clad guarantee. Okay, fair enough, but let's just see. You guys hear him. I can't. It's a mystery.
Well,
all right, 1 second.
I'll dip
We're
out
going to
then.
do one of these. Oh, he just hopped out. I was going to hop out also. Let's bring him back in. All right, try again.
How about now?
What the fuck?
Oh, no.
You guys can all hear him and I cannot. Curiouser and curiouser. Okay, darlings. Let me test one other thing. Okay, I can't hear my music either. So either my headphones have died or things have gone a little shit sideways. So what I will do, poor Steve, everyone can hear him. Immediately in the middle of a show, things have gone, listen, we start talking about free speech and the machine, the Illuminati, shut us down, you motherfuckers. Steve, just shush yourself for a second, my dear. And what I will do is I will play a track because everyone else can hear it. And I will figure out what the hell is going on with my headphones. Let's try one of these. Turn them off. Try them back on. Let's see what happens. Maybe.
Hello.
Nope, they've just disconnected from my computer. Why is that? Mystery. Don't know. Okay. No problem. So, in the interim, let's try a second set of headphones. Let's see if we have any luck. This is not ideal, and I don't like troubleshooting these things live on air because I have to awkwardly fill time. Let's see. Bluetooth is working. What's happening? Show Bluetooth devices. Let's get connected. These are paired. What? So the bot has broken. My headphones have broken. Everything has broken. Curiouser and curiouser. All right, let's see what we can do. And if I have no luck here, then I might the bot might be drunk today.
Nothing still?
All right, hang on, guys. I'm going to play a track because I have to save this disastrous moment. So, quickly, grab a track. We will do something really chill, and I am going to try and figure it out because somebody just leveled up in the chat. All right, so here's the deal. Steve can hear me. You can all hear me. The show is going on. My name is Crimson Clad, and this is CyberBuzz Radio. But somehow, in the middle of everything, my headphones believe they are still connected. But they are not. So I'm going to try and switch to a couple different things here. I'm going to figure out what the hell is going on. But we might be shot for the rest of this live interview, which is not ideal, in fact. I will say, not ideal. So we will just keep on keeping on. I'm going to disconnect these headphones quickly. Bingo, bango, bongo. We'll see if that actually worked. And then I'm going to reconnect them and see. Power on. No device found. All right. So, yep, the computer has just shit a brick. Now, here comes the problem with this, my darling. Here comes the problem. For all of you listening and watching, the way to fix this is to restart your computer. You know what you can't do in the middle of a live show, 1 hour into a 2-hour live show? You can't restart your computer. That's not how that works. So I'm gonna think about this, but we might be mildly hooped for the moment, and that is not ideal. It's not ideal, friends, because obviously we were just getting into the meat and potatoes of things. At the start of the show, we were talking a little bit about the Speak Network. We were talking about how tomorrow the full DEX is launching, and if you have been making your claims or you're thinking of making your claims and you want to start trading tokens over on the Speak Network, that tomorrow the soft lock and the soft caps on the DEX are coming off. And, you know, we've been talking about a little bit of everything and the capabilities of the Speak Network, dreams about what's going to happen with Deluxe and whatnot. And of course, Ron has faked news. The bot is being really crackly. There's many places for you to watch and listen. Julia's got a great link with all of them on her bot. But of course, my headphones have shit a brick. And the number one solution, which would be to turn it off and then turn it back on again, is not possible at this second. So I am at a tiny loss for what the right way to do is. So what I think I will do, in the most ridiculous way of all, is I am going to I'm going to play one more song. I am going to connect to the live on air room using my phone in Discord. I'm going to listen through this. I'm going to listen and talk through this. And that way, at least, I'll be able to hear him through my phone speaker, even though these fuckers aren't working. And you guys will still be able to hear what he's saying because it's working. That is my solution. I am a tech goddess. Let's do it. Hey ho. Rock it on. Is it terrible? Yes. Is it actually a solution? Yeah, better believe it is. So I'm going to quickly server mute him just so we don't hear him here for a second. I'm going to play one more song. You guys are so tolerant. This is what live streaming and live radio is all about. So in the interim, I just played you a track called Starfell. I will play you a quick track called Far Away. And when we come back, we will not be far away. We will be right here with Disregard Fiat, and we will continue, come hell or high water, today's absolute mix-up disaster of a show that has turned out to be really fun and really entertaining. We'll talk more about Speak. We'll talk more about Deluxe. I refuse to be beaten by a stupid piece of shit like Discord or like magical Bluetooth issues. All right? So let's entertain you with some music. And I will solve problems. There's more than one way to skin a cat, skin a potato, skin a whatever. Whatever you need skinned, I'm going to do it. right. So let's just see here. All right. We're testing something now. We are going to see if I have come up with a good solution.
Testing.
Let's see if everybody can hear you. Go ahead. Give it a talk. I heard you say testing. Say more.
Okay, I'm here. I'll say more. You've pent up at least 2 sentences worth out of me. I feel like I definitely not the most talkative guest.
I know, you're not, and that's okay. You can hear me. The audience can hear you. I am relaying your voice through my telephone, through my microphone, on my overlay. So it's not elegant, but fuck it. We're doing it live.
Right.
So if everybody is wondering why, if anybody's watching the video is wondering why I am holding my phone like this is what we're doing, is the phone speaker that is collecting my voice and relaying it to Disregard Fiat is also outputting his voice into my microphone, which is putting it into the radio broadcast. Listen, it's highly technical stuff. I am a Hive witness. This is not an ideal circumstance for a live interview, but of course, you know what? Who cares? We're going to make it work. I'm going to try and keep my hands off of the thing. I'm going to try and get this all going. You can hear me. They can hear you. We're going to continue on. We're going to do it. Yeah, technology. Hi, Daishar. Hi, everybody who's just joining us. Marco's here. His ears were burning. We were talking about him. Uncle Bonehead is here. Lots of people have hopped in. I'm so glad to see you guys. Welcome to CyberBuzz, and this is my Saturday show. We talk a lot about the Hive blockchain. We talk about disruptive technology. We talk about the retro future, VR, AR, the neo-noir, neo-Tokyo aspect of all the things out in the world. And honestly, it's par for the course, but we're making it happen. So today we've kind of covered up a lot of topics about Deluxe. We're here talking to Disregard Fiat, and he's been talking about what he's been working on with the Speak network. He's been talking about what he is building in terms of decentralized infrastructure powered by Hive and powering anything, in his own words, anything anyone with an internet connection wants to build. So that's a pretty broad topic and a lot of potential users and people who want to join in on this. And we've been having a lot of fun. Before things went completely tits up there, we were talking a little bit about Hive being this kind of crazy place full of people who love it, who are very in love with the idea of censorship resistance, disruptive technology, blockchain, and the internet in general. And we were talking about how one of the biggest things that is missing right now and that hasn't really been built using Deluxe infrastructure yet, and maybe is going to be something that Speak really focuses on, you can kind of tell by the name of the network, is a social gathering place, a social information sharing, community-based site, which has censorship resistance, free speech, and sort of the ability to create communities that you want to talk with about anything. That's the whole idea, Speak, right? So we have more people now who are talking a little bit about node running with Speak. And of course, we know tomorrow the DEX is kind of gonna open up and people can trade more Speak tokens. For people who are node running right now, I know that's kind of been crazy. They have been MacGyvering right along with you. Do you have some advice for somebody who's just learning about, say, the Speak network or node running from this show? And, you know, how can they get started? What's a good choice for maybe experimenting with node running? How do they get involved?
Well, if you just want to experiment with node running, you can run one of these nodes without putting any collateral up, and then you'll stay outside of like the official things. You'll just be like a monitor, a witness, or somebody who can see what's going on and understand how things are going. But nodes are just a way to be involved in something without being involved in something. So if you wanted to run a program like a QVC where you're selling something on here, and you wanted to have a decentralized network so that people could buy and sell Pez containers,
hell yeah,
only because you're talking about Pez containers on this show, that would be possible. But everybody who wants to run that and say, like, provide collateral for sending and receiving Pez could use your voice as the arbiter of truth and say, if she said it, then it's real. And anybody who hears what you said can all do that and come together in the chat and even say, like, oh, she said this, and everybody else can agree. And that's what running a node is, except instead of listening to your voice, they're listening to Hive. And then everybody can say, oh, that account definitely said that, and that account definitely said that. And that's how the DEX works in general, and how running the node is going on like a non-technical way. We're just listening to what's happening and saying, oh, yep, of course, that's exactly what happened, and doing something based on that. So if you said, oh, bidder 3 gets Pez container 2, then everybody else in there can just update their little notebooks and says, all right, Pez container 3 goes to bidder 2. And that's what running a node's all about. And when you have more and more collateral to put in that system, then you'll have the ability to handle transactions for other people. And that's what we've been building for quite a while.
Yeah. And so this is something that is so crucial to understanding and really becoming a crazy person like the rest of us / loving blockchain and decentralized technology. So a really great example for the lay people, and we'll kind of maybe move to some of the people who are already node running, but a really great example for people who want to kind of understand why this is a thing you want to do is always kind of comes back to the idea of the traditional fiat, economic situation that we find ourselves in. If you go to your bank and you log into your online banking and your bank says you have $100 today, that's what you have. Even if you know for a fact you deposited $1,000 with those fucks, if what they allow you to have, if what they say you have when you go to their ledger is $100, you have $100. Now, you have to trust them. You have to trust them to be accurate. You have to trust them. And there is no one else who gets a say in this. When you think about that, especially in today's world, that can be a little scary, right? That can definitely be intimidating. And this is kind of coming back to the very core idea behind Bitcoin is, if I know that I have 100 Bitcoin and every other node also knows that I have 100 Bitcoin, no node can lie about it. And if one node says something different, then nodes spread all over the world, we know that they're not telling the truth. And that's the core sort of aspect of blockchain technology. And it's exactly as you're saying now. You don't necessarily have to do anything special. You can literally just run this node, this server, this piece of software that says, I want to watch everything that's happening because I want to see it with my own eyes. I want to know what is going into the ledger. And every person that has a copy and watches a copy of the ledger goes by knows what's happening. You don't have to trust one central authority. You don't have to hope that there's one centralized ledger that says this is what is the truth. And you don't have to hope that they're doing it right. You have more and more people all joining a network and basically helping make a transparent ledger, which is very exciting in terms of this world that we're in, where if the government doesn't like you driving your truck, they won't let you take money out of your bank account. That's not good. So different types of nodes are there. And so one of the things that you mentioned is collateral. So for people who want to kind of understand the relationship of collateral to a node, in this case, you're saying, hey, if you do some staking, and you put that power behind your node, that aspect of I'm going to stake some of my tokens, then you have put enough on the line that you can actually help be someone who's going to actually put these transactions into the ledger, correct?
Right. And that's a little bit different concept than Hive in general, because
Yes.
on Hive you can delegate your tokens, which is collateral, and those tokens go to people the top 20 witnesses or whoever you vote for,
Yep.
and they're the ones that you trust to run the network. On this, it's a little bit different because not everything's internal to the network. So, for instance, if somebody on a Deluxe sidechain or the Speak sidechain wants to send a DEX transaction, what's happening on Hive isn't happening inside our internal ledger. So that collateral that you lock for a few weeks allows us to say, like, oh, so your account that may or may not have had control over this decentralized wallet, it did a bad thing. And now, since you can't move your tokens for 3 or 4 weeks, we can go in and adjust our ledger so that everybody else gets what you may have stole. So you'll never be in charge of more external funds than we have, like the weight on the scale. So if you put your collateral that's worth so much Hive up there, now we as a network are allowed to safely transact up to that amount of Hive in our DEX. So that's the collateralization aspect of it. And if you have 10 or 20 people doing that, you have more than anybody else would have had at the same place. And yes, it's still possible for 15 people to go in and take over the system and take over the wallet, but at the same time, they have given up what they have put into the system if they want to steal. Yeah. So it works out in game theory that it should be more beneficial to not do that. And if they do that, then they effectively just purchase their own tokens.
I get it. That's at the cost of their reputation and their ability to continue on to earn more, and their ability to participate in the network.
Yes, and you're probably going to forfeit all of your tokens. So it's going to be a bad deal for you in terms of that. So you might get an immediate out of the network, but at the same time, like, it'll always be a worse deal than if you just transacted on the open market.
Yeah, makes sense. And so this is kind of the big struggle with blockchain and ledger technology is, how do you achieve a truly decentralized DEX? How do you achieve true decentralization? And there are a number of different sort of, I guess, ways of looking at what is decentralization, right? So for a lot of people, that's straight up numbers of nodes. Like, for a lot of people, that's just it is. They're saying, hey, listen, if we have a bajillion, ganillion, make up a number here, number of nodes across the world, then that means there's that many copies of the ledger. But interestingly enough, we've discovered over the last couple of years, and with projects that have, cropped up, especially in the ERC world, often there are entire networks with crazy amount of nodes running. But as you mentioned, a lot of those nodes are just watching. They're just seeing. They're having their own copy of the ledger, but there maybe is only 1 or 2 nodes run centrally that are putting numbers in the ledger. And that's a really interesting kind of distinction to make. So, in this case, you're basically saying anyone can join in and anyone can actually create or run a node that is helping power this network, that is helping process transactions. And to do so, they have to put their own collateral on the line. And that's kind of the max that they're really going to be able to impact. And so it really means that there are 2 options for people to pursue here. And that is, get as many tokens as they can and put that all forth as collateral and hope that, more people join in to have the network bumping enough and to have enough tokens being exchanged that they can make some profit. Or what is actually happening, you guys have distributed these tokens widely to an already pretty well distributed network, and you are allowing anyone to choose to just join in, even if it's with a smaller amount. That's huge, because a lot of people up to this point, and if you think about sort of what's going to happen with ETH and some of these other ecosystems where you need a minimum amount to stake, or, you need to have an ever increasing amount of power behind your node, this is really, really accessible. Hi, Felicia. Good to see you. We're talking about weird tech shit. My day is fantastic. I'm glad you're here. I hope you'll stick around. So this is a different take on it.
There is a minimum for the staking, and it comes down to how many people are involved in the wallet, and to prevent Sybil attacks, the number does change. So if everybody on the network has 100 collateral tokens, and you say like, oh, how many accounts now would come in with one collateral token, and now all of a sudden you have a Sybil issue. So the idea is, if you come into the network, the amount of collateral that you have will benefit the network as a whole. So like if you had 100 people with 100 tokens, the average is 100, but if you throw in one token, then the average now is 99. So if you throw in enough that the average of everybody's goes up, more or less, then you'll be promoted.
Got it. Okay, so let's kind of... Felicia is fun as shit. She's asking me what's the worst I ever had to pee. And I kind of want to answer this question, but I kind of want to continue with the interview. So what I will say is, often when I'm live on air like this and I'm doing, sort of a radio show, I hate to tell everybody live on air, I don't have a penis. I am a woman. And that means if I need to pee in a bottle, it's not a thing that happens. So when radio shows are on, unless I play a long enough music break, I don't get to go to the bathroom while I'm doing this show. So there have definitely been times on this show where I'm talking to somebody like Steve and I'm talking about the decentralized exchange, but in my mind I'm just thinking about waterfalls and flowing streams and whatever, and it's a struggle, I will say. It's definitely bad. There's been some struggle bus on this show. So I know there's a lot of people in chat right now that have jumped in because they've just discovered, oh my God, you're on air. Because of course we didn't tell anybody about this impromptu show, and now we're talking through a phone and looking like a moron. But still, great information and a good entertaining time has been had. So kind of talking a little bit about this idea that more and more people join and the sort of minimum number to participate is going to change. That's a good kind of seg into tomorrow. So we know tomorrow is when the DEX is going to start allowing people to just trade these tokens on the network without any restrictions, correct?
Right, because right now you're only allowed to trade up to like 0.01 Hive, so effectively like 1 cent worth.
Right.
And that's just, we can make sure everything's working beforehand.
Perfect.
And tomorrow that's going to go away, and it's going to be, you're allowed to transact up to the collateral limits. And right now that could be anywhere between a few hundred Hive to a few thousand Hive at a time, but that's the idea. We want to see this just grow naturally and from like a seed.
Perfect. And so we know that seed sort of was planted when you guys actually kind of took that number on the 6th. So literally everybody watching, listening, anybody who has a Hive account has these tokens. They just don't know it. And so earlier you dropped that link, and we will we'll kind of pop it back in the chat in a second. I think you said it was spk.dlux.io. And that's the DEX, and that's also where you can find out how many collateral tokens you have, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
There's
perfect.
just a big present box up there, and if you want to click on that present right now, feel free. And you will have claimed your tokens for March. You got to claim them once a month, every calendar month for the next year. And that is how you get your entire claim drop.
Ah, okay. So I have a good question. When did this start, the claiming? Like for people like me who are big fat dum-dums who haven't pressed the present yet, what happens? Have we missed out on some? Are they piling up if you don't claim every month? Like, walk us through that, because there are still people who are like, give me the tokens.
So yeah, when I got the ask from the Dan Stalker's group of people at Speak, they were saying like, we're doing all of this on Pure Plays, and then there was some disappointment. So I was like, hey, instead of putting that on Binance or any other of these chains that are going to cost money and have a whole bunch of friction between people, make it as easy as possible and just bring it to Hive, do it, relatively free, and people just push a custom JSON button. So it's easier than starting a game on Splinterlands, hopefully. And that's it. So there was some testing that has happened in the interim. So I found out about this, it was like the end of January. So some people have clicked on that claim button in February, but those tokens, everything that happened in February went away. But anything that happened so far in March, if you click that claim button, then you're still good to go.
So if they don't click in March, what happens?
You have lost 1/12 of your possible rewards.
So this is something that we need to kind of get our butts on, because I know the idea of very organic, very word of mouth, very, natural growth is awesome and the ideal. And a lot of people are going to miss out.
Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because we have this network, and not everybody in Hive is part of Hive. Like, we have account balances left over from Steam. There's a lot of people who don't hang out on 3Speak and whatnot. So the idea is you want to get the people who are most interested in your product and your process and your community to get the most rewards. So if this does grow, you don't want at the last day some exchange on Steam that has never participated in Hive at all to come in and say, like, oh, we own your network now because we clicked claim just once, while you guys have been doing this all year. So hopefully that is what this accomplishes, is gets interested people further in depth in the system, since we are giving it to every account on Hive.
And so that's a great way of looking at it. And kind of my hope in asking that question is it gives everybody who's here who's like, why am I claiming? What am I claiming? I'm excited. Give me free tokens. Those are people who are potentially the ones who are already really excited about Hive possibilities. These are the people who are your best options for being passionate node runners, for being evangelists. These are the people who use sort of claimable tokens as this. They're like truffle pigs. They're going around looking for airdrops and claim drops to lead them to projects that are meaningful, or, number go up, whatever. And I mean, in some ways, this is really awesome. And that there is a lot of thought that goes into it, because that has always long been a thing is somebody who has a lot of money, whether they put it in themselves or they've kind of scammed their way into it, or by one metric or another, it's something like an exchange who just happens to have a wallet with a lot of tokens in it, even if it's not theirs, they sometimes have this unfair advantage. And so in this case, the big thing is basically getting out and letting people know that there's this ongoing drop, and kind of getting them excited about the potentials that these tokens and this claim drop unlocks for them. And you're right, that doesn't necessarily need to go beyond Hive, because anybody who didn't have Hive tokens then, or didn't have high power then, won't have anything now, so it doesn't really matter. But inside this network, and inside our community, and inside sort of the inner workings, and all of the people who love Hive and love 3Speak and love Deluxe and blockchain the best, this is the time to really get people going. And this is exciting time basically across the board, because we have crazy stuff going on with Leo and Polycub. We have the Speak Network, and you guys are now basically starting to bootstrap an entire infrastructure layer that goes well beyond what Hive's already capable of. And there's a lot of opportunity right now. So in a perfect world, if we're talking about, these big accounts and sort of these non-mindful accounts kind of weed themselves out, and Yates is asking which has the claim length, and I would type it for you, but I don't have my hands free. If you want to go and check this out, if you're thinking about node running, if you want to test out the DEX, if you want to learn more about Speak, you can go to spk.dlux.io. And apparently it's a present. It's a present. Find the present and click on the present. Thank you for typing that, by the way.
Yeah, no problem. And we're having a live stream tomorrow, so everybody who's on the Speak Network and has all of the information that I don't have, we're all going to talk about what we do and some of the goals for the system, and explain this in a lot more detail, answer some more questions, talk more about collateral, nodes running, this and that.
Fun.
So definitely come and eat some cake with us on Hive birthday.
Perfect. So that's a perfect, great, like coinciding, fun. But yeah, so I would say also, as things go along, we should probably revisit this with more of the team. So I'm officially putting that bug in your ear, and maybe we can have a more formalized setting where I'm not holding my phone and we're just winging it. I'm going to tease you forever, for sure. Although I will say, if any of you guys were here the first time that we did a Deluxe interview, which was really fun, and we had a ton of people because that one I got to advertise, I'm pretty sure you had a very lovely Brazilian lady wander by pantsless, which was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. That was Argentinian lady. Yeah, but yeah.
Oh, Argentinian lady. My bad. It's all about what's rocking down south, basically. So okay, what is the goal for tomorrow? Like, that's where I was going kind of before we continued on explaining that you guys have the big live stream and we're trying to get everybody excited about that. We know that some of these big non-mindful accounts just aren't going to participate. And we know that the sort of minimum requirement of, hey, remember to go once a month and click a button, is also going to weed some of these really disinterested parties out. But, what is sort of the big goal tomorrow? Ideally, knowing that everybody that is active on Hive and that carries any form of balance has tokens. What number, in your heart feels right? How many, what do you want to see people do? Do you want to see sort of X number of nodes organically grow out of people who have staked their tokens or put up collateral, Or do you want to see most people just claiming and trading and, the deck's starting to bump from a trading aspect? What do you feel that you want to see happen?
I would love to see that the decks function 100% as I have it in my mind, and all of these edge cases that I'm constantly worried about just don't appear. That would be ideal. But from the network standpoint, if you're not me, the developer, what I would want to see is, well, like I just said, there's this gap between like people who were here on January 6th and people who might be interested in this network, and also a gap between who these tokens are actually for. And like I said, these tokens are minor tokens for infrastructure providers. Not everybody wants to be an infrastructure provider, but there's also some people who might want to be an infrastructure provider who don't have as many tokens as they want. So tomorrow is a day where it starts. We have a market that starts getting built, and the prices come out organically, and there's 1/12 of the tokens available, and then that's further constricted by how many people are actually aware and want to click that claim button, and who want to put their tokens on the DEX instead of speculate. So tomorrow is the day that some people will be like, oh, I didn't have as many tokens as I wanted to have, I want to buy those tokens, and we get to find out what this network is going to be priced at. And that's just what I want to see. I just want to see that organically grow without too many issues that are my fault.
Spoken like a developer. Oh, God. Trust me, I know those feels. Or like when you push something and everything breaks and then you're like, oh, no one can fix this but me. But also I created this problem and I would like to run away from it now.
That is my life.
Yeah, I live that one at work a lot. Actually, I fully broke our online enrollment form the other day. And then it was just like, oh, I could just roll this back. But and you just kind of sit there paralyzed by your own misery for a little bit. This is the constant developer life. I love it. It's perfect. We're really happy people, I swear. So, okay, you mentioned something in there that is probably a really good kind of like point to pick at quickly. And that is people who know what these tokens are for, and the people that want these tokens for the purpose that they are meant for. So in this case, these are tokens to allow you to put up collateral to become an infrastructure provider. Awesome. You're right. Not everybody wants to be an infrastructure provider, but people are always excited to kind of join in the distribution model. People love to trade. People love an airdrop or a claim drop. So that's cool. That's that interconnected thing. But for people who want to be an infrastructure provider, or people who are on the fence and think it sounds interesting, but what's in it for them? That's the next level of this. Is tomorrow the people who are really gung-ho, who really want this network to take off, are going to becoming sort of more trusted, infrastructure providers. But these are essentially, you mentioned the word mining tokens, because the idea is if you are providing this infrastructure, there is a reward for it. Do you want to talk a little bit about what that looks like? Why do people want to be node runners if they are so inclined?
So there might be even more aspects to this, because the network isn't all fleshed out yet. But if you, I know you're a Hive witness, but let's pretend you're not, and you want to vote on a Hive witness because they represent your ideals, or in this case, maybe there's a Peak D and a Hive blog Hive witness, and you never go to Hive blog, so you want your rewards more or less to go to Peak D because you always go to Peak D. So you might be able to vote for their infrastructure. But the idea is Peak D says, I'm going to provide this infrastructure. They power up their tokens, and now there's a quality metric or a voting metric that determines their product. So maybe the metrics that the community decide on is page load times. So if Peak D loads their pages in 100 milliseconds and Hive blog loads theirs in 200 milliseconds, do they get more of their tokens? And if Hive blog improves their times down at 50 seconds, do they get more of their tokens as well because their quality changes? The idea is, how do we get the best user experience from a decentralized network? And when you put up those tokens, you're saying, like, maybe I can do 10% of this network, and since I'm providing a better service, I'm actually going to get 15% of the rewards. So those rewards come out and they turn into governance tokens, and those governance tokens allow you to vote on those infrastructure proposals and what qualities and votes are actually going to be in the system. So hopefully it's just an organic rating system that allows people to put in their infrastructure and get it monetized, get paid for providing these services to people, and provide the best service that we can in general. So that's the idea behind the tokens. I'm not entirely sure how everything's going to flesh out, but that is the idea. We want this to happen.
Okay, so that's the big thing. And of course, it doesn't matter if it's not fleshed out, because you have to start building the infrastructure for people to use the infrastructure, for people to rate the infrastructure. So that makes sense to me. But of course, now you're going to hate me because one of the things that I always think is very interesting is that Hive essentially runs on this. We have to provide input and feedback. We have to vote. We have to delegate. We have to choose. We have to we have to downvote. We as a community don't always agree that we are doing a good or a bad job. Are the best people top witnesses? Are the best proposals going through? Why do people downvote me? I'm so sad. I hate your face, etc., etc. So here we have an opportunity again. How do you think it's going to work out, knowing that this is once again coming down to somebody has to decide these performance metrics, and people have to be actively engaged in saying, yeah, this infrastructure provider is better than that infrastructure provider. Do you think that this is going to get people jazzed enough to really kind of to participate in that? And what's that going to look like? How does somebody who's just wanting to use Peak D or wanting to use a 3Speak site and choosing their node, how are they going to kind of enter into that feedback system?
Well, it is a feedback system. You're aware of those like degen cat things where you can get a picture of a cat or a human that doesn't exist in real life because there's fighting neural networks to determine what a cat looks like? You seen those?
No, what? Okay, I'm interested by this already. Okay. So neural networks have an okay idea of what things are, and they create the most fucked up, trippy, hilarious art because they have to do it based solely on the input they receive. So what it sounds like is that people are fighting to feed a neural network pictures of cats in the hope of creating an outcome of a cat. And
Yes.
enough people have to provide accurate information that you don't have a Lovecraftian horror monster that comes out on the other side.
Right. So yeah, there's a system that takes noise and it turns that noise further and further into pictures of people or cats or dogs or whatever.
Okay.
And then there's a rating system that says, like, is this a person or is this not a person? And over time, you can just NVIDIA runs this, and you go there, and I can't remember the name of the site, but you type it in, and a person will appear, and that person has never existed before, and they come from random noise on the computer.
That is actually just as an aside. That's literally what it's called. It's called "This Person Does Not Exist." So I actually do know what you're talking about, but I didn't realize. I know that neural networks obviously kind of teach themselves based on generative networks is basically what we're talking about. Generative adversarial networks, GANs. So they teach themselves to be better at whatever job they're doing is. And there's that critical moment of feedback where somebody says, yes, you are doing a good job, or no, this is terrible. So in this case, I never realized that that was based kind of on feedback from people. Is that something that is being incentivized to give that feedback? Because we know the internet is full of trolls. There are absolutely people out there who are going to be like, this is the most beautiful person I've ever seen. And it will actually be like 4 fingers coming out of an eye socket and like 13 tongues, where an ear should be. So...
So yeah, this is why, to me, Hive and the Proof of Brain challenge is so interesting, because we have the largest fully incentivized layer of feedback. And it's not like the internet where somebody's just like, oh, 4 fingers is beautiful to me. Here on Hive, when your feedback is in consensus with everybody else, you get rewards back. And so this proof of brain model that we have here, even though we all fight about it, that is what the fight is for. It's to find out what is the best way to get content developed. And when you put networks on infrastructure on top of this, that proof of brain model will continue to be, how do we provide the best services? So what it looks like at the start, it could look like mashed potatoes, but iterations down the line, now it looks like a fluffy cloud of cat thing, and you're like, oh, this could have won the cat show, but it doesn't exist. But in this case, we're building these networks that will exist because the networks themselves are the ideal.
Right. And so in this case, it kind of sounds like, as part of powering an infrastructure layer that goes above and beyond and expands on top of the capabilities of Hive, you're going to use some of the core features of Hive to help actually kind of develop that sort of way of discerning who is providing the best infrastructure. Is that kind of how you guys are thinking about doing it? Is sort of using a voting aspect of Hive, or, Really? Okay,
using
so that's
that
cool.
Governance aspect. So yeah, these tokens are going initially to the infrastructure. Those infrastructure providers get gifted governance tokens. Those governance tokens will be able to feed back into the system to hopefully get the feedback mechanisms right and get the quality we want out of the system.
Interesting. So basically, as we come up towards the end of the show, we've got more people who are jumping in. The clown's no longer fake newsing well after the bot shit a brick. And you have been so gracious to be encapsulated inside of my phone. And we've pushed through some of our insane issues today. It sounds like, for people who are really kind of trying to wrap their head around this, or who are excited about the possibilities and everything else, that tomorrow's live stream is kind of going to be a big deal. It's going to be a great opportunity to celebrate, to learn more, to join in the discussion above and beyond what we did today. So do you want to kind of remind people where that is tomorrow? Tomorrow will be March 20th.
Oh my God, I don't even know what time it is.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's almost like you keep showing up to live streams with no concept of time.
No concept of time.
I'm beaking you. I'm sorry. I'm going to continue to do that. Because I feel like today, some of the shit we talked about, man, I wish we could have done a better job at just like getting more people here, because I know people are going to have a lot of excitement. Well, I mean, I know many people who do have a lot of excitement around this, or a lot of questions, who really want to get into this but need more information. So, tomorrow.
It is a 4 o'clock UTC tomorrow.
Good man. March 20th, 2022, 4 p.m. UTC time. Where?
On the Speak Network Discord.
Okay. And so, but you'll be live streaming that, so it will be going out through different platforms? It's not your circus, not your monkeys. Listen, we helped people we know tomorrow you need to get to that Discord. Why don't we post a link in the chat and then we'll go from there?
Okay, that I can probably do.
Okay, so we'll mark this as sort of a cordial invitation over the next little bit. Next week is off the ability to be scheduled, but in the coming weeks, we'll kind of pull some of the Speak Network team here, or even you, and we will do a proper overlay, planned out kind of episode. So this has been a lot of fun. Thanks for just flying by the seat of your pants with me. No thanks for not telling me you were coming.
So thanks for flying by the seat of my pants with me.
And hopefully everybody, there you go. Perfect. Bingo, bango, bongo. Well done. So the link's in the chat, and I will post it as part of the description for this and as the post. I don't think I actually made a Vim post, but that's fine. We'll go from here. But as we come up to the end of the show, since this is still for like 2 more minutes, your party, pump yourself, talk about what you're working on. You got a couple seconds here, couple minutes here to kind of talk about what jazzes you, and anything you want to say.
Yeah. So I'm Disregard Fiat. I build Deluxe. I have wonderful people who help me on just about all of these aspects. They say like, hey, NFTs are cool, let's build NFTs, or VR is cool, let's do VR stuff. Mark Giles is in the chat here. Mm-hmm. Just a wonderful community that really helps me do what I do. And I develop, hopefully, with free speech in mind. I run a Hive Witness. You can vote for that and see me in my Discord chat. So the idea is, if we can make the world better through freedom, then that's my jazz.
No, that's an excellent goal. And actually, I have been sending quite a few people to you who are looking to create flexible NFT projects, or who need to be able to kind of really get their fingers and get messy when it comes to building or using the infrastructure that they're envisioning for these projects that they want to get going. So, I mean, I know I've definitely sent a couple people your way. I'm hoping that it will, result in a more vibrant and diverse ecosystem of projects. And I think it'll happen. I'm excited. So with that, I am going to kind of just put this phone down. So say bye.
Bye.
I'm going to put this phone down, and, I'm going to kind of say all my goodbyes. So for everybody who was here today, thank you for putting up with the crazy mix-up day that today was. We started out thinking we weren't going to have a guest, and then we did have a guest, and we didn't advertise, and we didn't know where we were going, and we didn't prep, and we still talked about a lot of fun stuff. I'm going to make an effort to make sure that we have some kind of follow-up talks, both with Deluxe and maybe Speak as well, so we can really kind of get some of the attention that is deserved on this project. Thank you for putting up with my Mad MacGyver headgear situation. And I know we didn't do a lot of Synthwave today. I know we didn't talk about the retro future stuff, but after last week's entire episode about shrimp, you needed a Hive break. Tomorrow is Hive's birthday. I hope you celebrate. There are more shows out there today. Go to mspwaves.com/schedule to figure out what they are. I will see you next on Thursday.